I always thought my stepsister was weird, but I didn't think smuggling alien artifacts and growing cat ears under moonlight kinda weird. The first thing I noticed when I entered the lab wasn't the floating blue crystal. It was her tail, yeah, a tail, swaying side to side like she was trying to hypnotize me, or maybe just mock my total lack of chill. "Don't stare," she said, voice smooth as silk. "It's rude to gawk at family, Kai. Family doesn't usually have tails, Nyara." She smirked, her fanged smile gleaming under the sterile light of the ship's research bay. The glow of the xenolith crystal in her hand made her skin shimmer like she'd stolen the light from a star. She wore a cropped combat top and cargo shorts, standard explorer gear, but somehow she made it look like a scandal waiting to happen. And I was the fool caught watching. The human and the half-feline our ship, the Starforge Dawn, had just escaped a plasma storm over the Trion Belt. I was the pilot. Nyara was the xenobiologist, half-human, half-Letheri. A rare hybrid species that most colonies didn't talk about because, well, no one liked admitting humans had a thing for aliens with fur and tails. She leaned on the console, her eyes glimmering gold in the low light. "You're thinking something dumb again, aren't you?" "Define dumb," I said. "Because if you mean concerned that my stepsister might be harboring an interdimensional energy crystal that's pulsating like it's alive, then yes, dumb." She rolled her eyes, tail flicking. "It's called a lunicore, and it's harmless if you don't touch it," I pointed. "Then why's it humming?" "Crystals don't hum," she raised an eyebrow. "Neither do humans when they're scared." Touché. The secret. She tried to hide. Nyara always had secrets. Since the day our parents merged families on Mars Colony 9, she'd been mysterious, vanishing for hours, showing up with alien tech, whispering things in languages I didn't recognize. But tonight something was off. Her pupils were dilated, her claws half extended. And that crystal, it pulsed faster every time she breathed. "Nyara," I said carefully, "what does the full moon have to do with this?" She froze. Her smirk faded, replaced with something I'd never seen on her face before. Fear. The confession. "The Letheri," she whispered, "aren't supposed to exist in this galaxy. The crystal, it anchors my transformation." "Transformation?" Her gaze met mine. "When the moon over Andaris Prime rises tonight, the lunicore activates. If I don't stabilize it, if I lose control, I could..." She paused. I could stop being me. I blinked. "So you're saying you turn into a werecat?" "More like an apex predator with a bad temper and perfect hair." "Right. Because the hair's what I should focus on." She tossed the crystal in the air. It hovered, rotating lazily as it emitted a faint melody that made the air hum. I reached out on instinct because I'm human, and humans always do the one thing they're told not to. "Don't," she shouted, too late. My hand brushed the crystal. A shock rippled through me. My vision flared white, and suddenly I saw everything. Her memories, her pain, her loneliness, and something else. Her longing. The connection. When I came to, she was kneeling beside me, breathing hard. The crystal dimmed in her hand. "Damn it, Kai," she hissed. "Do you have a death wish?" "Maybe," I muttered. "Depends on who's asking." Her tail flicked against my arm, a strange mix of scolding and affection. "You linked with it. That shouldn't be possible for a human. So now I'm what, part glowing rock?" She stared at me for a moment, lips pressed together in that I'm angry but also impressed expression she did way too well. Then she sighed. "You're connected to me now. The lunicore responds to emotion." Which means what?" She stepped closer. "If I lose control tonight, you'll feel it. Every single bit. Define feel." Her smirk returned. "Oh, you'll know. The rising tension the ship's AI pinged. Alert. Lunar ascent begins in 6 hours." I groaned. 6 hours? That's how long we have to fix this?" She nodded. "Or you'll have front row seats to me turning into a mythological killing machine." "Well," I said, trying to keep things light. "At least it's not a boring Friday." She gave me a sideways look. "You're impossible. And you're glowing. I told you, it's the crystal." "No, Nyara. You're glowing." Her eyes widened as faint silver patterns crawled across her arms like moonlight etching into her skin. The crystal pulsed again, faster, brighter. The air crackled. I reached out instinctively to steady her, but she stumbled right into me. Her breath hitched. Mine stopped. The ship hummed quietly around us like it was holding its breath too. I said, "Don't move," she whispered. "The crystal reacts to touch." "We're already linked." "Linked how?" I asked. She gave me that smirk again. "Let's just say if I purr, you'll know why." Adult humor. Glimpse I tried to back away, but her tail looped around my wrist. "Relax, Kai," she teased, voice low. "I don't bite. That's not what the claws suggest." "Oh, I bite," she said, winking. "Just selectively," I sighed. "You're enjoying this way too much." "Of course I am," she said. "You finally stopped pretending you weren't curious." I froze. "Curious about what?" Her eyes glowed gold again. "Me." End of section 1. Hooked to next outside the ship. The blue moon of Andaris Prime began to rise, bathing the star-forged dawn in ghostly light. The Lunacore flared like a heartbeat, syncing with mine. Nyara leaned close, her voice barely above a whisper. "If you want to save me, Kai, you'll have to stay close." "Very close," I swallowed. "Define close." Her smile was wicked. "Close enough to regret it." "Note to self," I muttered, tightening the straps on my vest. "Never touch glowing alien crystals, or your stepsister, on a lunar night." The countdown begins. The star-forged dawn drifted in orbit over Andaris Prime. Below, the silver-blue moon was climbing into full view, and with each passing minute, Nyara's control slipped like sand through her fingers. She stood near the viewport, hands trembling, eyes reflecting the light of the rising moon. The silver patterns on her arms now stretched up to her shoulders, glowing faintly like veins of liquid starlight. "Don't look at me like that," she said softly. "I'm not turning yet. You're literally glowing and humming. I've seen quieter nuclear reactors." "Funny," she said, crossing her arms, coming from the guy who screamed when a cleaning drone touched his boot. I didn't scream. I protested. I was startled. "There's a difference," she smirked. "Sure, pilot boy. Keep telling yourself that." Her teasing tone helped a little, but the tension was thick, the kind you could slice with a plasma blade. The AI chimed again. "Lunar ascent. 2 hours remaining. Initiate safety lockdown." I sighed. "Guess we're stuck together till it's over." Nyara turned toward me, her tail flicking. "Oh no, Kai, we're not stuck. We're synchronized, linked by the Lunacore. Ever since I touched the Lunacore crystal, strange things kept happening between us. I'd think something, she'd respond to it. I'd flinch, she'd feel it, and every time she smiled, my heart skipped like it was on a timer set to embarrass me. "Hey," she said, walking over. "Stop overthinking. You're projecting it." "Projecting what?" "Your thoughts." She tapped her temple. "You forget we're linked. I can feel when you're flustered." "Flustered? Me?" "No, wait, you can feel that?" She grinned. "Every time your brain goes, 'Oh no, she's hot,' I get static." I choked. That's not fair." "Neither is biology," she purred. "But it's fun, isn't it? The humor of tension." She walked past me, tail brushing my leg, accidentally, and I swore my pulse synced with the ship's reactor. "Careful," I said. "You're playing with unstable energy." She winked. "So are you. Nyara, this isn't funny. You said you could lose control." "Exactly," she whispered, turning. "That's why I need you to help me stay calm." Define calm. Breathing. Focused thought. Maybe some light touching. I blinked. "You mean meditation, right?" "Sure," she said. "Let's call it that." Adult humor and sci-fi logic, we sat on the floor of the lab, cross-legged, the crystal floating between us. It pulsed gently, matching our breathing. The AI dimmed the lights to lunar sync mode. I couldn't tell if that was an actual protocol or if Nyara had hacked the system again. "Okay," she said. "Focus on the connection." "I'm focusing. Not that kind of focusing." "Right, sorry. Your eyes are just really bright tonight." "Eyes, huh?" she teased. "That's the best you got?" "I'm trying to be respectful." She chuckled. "You're doing great, stepbrother." The word stepbrother never sounded so loaded before. I tried to ignore it. Really, I did. But her grin told me she knew exactly what she was doing. When the energy hit, suddenly the Lunacore pulsed brighter, blindingly bright. "Nyara?" I said. "Is it supposed to do that?" She gasped. "It's reacting to us, our emotions. You're making it stronger. I'm making it stronger. You're the one glowing like a cosmic disco ball." "Stop shouting. Too late." The crystal flared and a shockwave rippled through the room. Every console flickered. The floor vibrated. And when the light faded, we were both lying flat on our backs, staring at the ceiling, dazed. You alive? I muttered. Define alive, she said weakly. Okay, that's fair. Aftershock and dark humor. We sat up slowly. Her hair was crackling with static, her tail puffed like an angry cat. I might have laughed if she hadn't been giving me a look, sharp enough to cut through armor plating. Don't say it, she warned. I wasn't going to say anything. You were going to make a fur joke. Me? Never, she narrowed her eyes. You humans always get weird around tails. I don't get weird. Her eyebrow rose. Really? Okay, maybe a little, she sighed dramatically. If we survive tonight, I'm buying you a leash. I blinked. Wait for who? Exactly. The confession and the comedic breakthrough. When the laughter faded, she grew quiet. Her ears drooped slightly. Her voice softened. I wasn't supposed to tell you, she said. The Lunacore. It's not just a stabilizer. It's a beacon, I frowned. Beacon for what? For my kind. The Lithari. She swallowed hard. If I lose control, they'll come for me. And anyone near me, which means me, which means you, she said, guilt clouding her golden eyes. I leaned forward. Then we'll stop it. Together. You don't get it, Kai. Her tail curled around herself like a shield. I'm not the one who needs saving. You are, I blinked. What's that supposed to? She cut me off, pressing a finger to my lips. Her touch was electric. The air shimmered again with that same Lunacore pulse. Don't argue, she whispered. Just stay with me until the moon passes. I tried to keep my breathing steady. That's 6 hours, her lips curled. Then don't fall asleep. Romantic comic beat. We set up near the observation bay, watching the moonlight spill through the windows. Her head rested on my shoulder. Her tail, traitorous thing, coiled lazily around my waist. You know, I murmured, this is probably against some intergalactic regulation. Good thing I don't follow rules. Right, I said. You just break them in style, she chuckled softly. You humans call it flirting. We call it emotional manipulation. That's comforting. Don't pretend you're not enjoying it, I hesitated. Maybe a little, she smiled. Then stop pretending. The glowing moment, the Lunacore hummed again, but softer this time, like a heartbeat settling into rhythm. Niara's glow dimmed. Her breathing slowed. The patterns on her skin faded back into faint lines. It's working, I whispered. You're stabilizing, she opened one eye. Don't sound so surprised. Just relieved, her gaze met mine. You really care, don't you? Of course I care. She studied me for a long moment. Then she said softly, that's dangerous. The cliffhanger. Before I could ask why, the ship lights flickered. The AI's voice came on, distorted. Alert. Unidentified energy signature detected. Boarding sequence initiated. Nyara's ears twitched. They found me. I stood up, heart pounding. Who? Her eyes turned sharp, predator sharp. The Lithari. They're already here. The Lunacore pulsed once, then shattered into a storm of blue light. Love is complicated. Love that's telepathically linked to an alien cat girl while hostile ships board your cruiser under a rising full moon. That's hella complicated. Emergency mode. The Starforged dawn shook violently as boarding alarms screamed through the corridors. The lights turned crimson. I stumbled, grabbed the railing, and shouted over the blaring sirens. AI, seal bulkhead doors. Error. Biolink signal interfering, unable to comply. Biolink? I snapped. You mean her? Niara was already on her feet, eyes glowing gold, hair whipping like she was standing in a storm of starlight. They're jamming the ship's systems with my frequency. They're coming for me, and I thought family reunions were bad on Earth. She shot me a look that was both warning and amusement. If we live through this, you're grounded. Can you even ground me? I'm 26, not when you act 12. Hey! That's unfair. A loud crash echoed through the hall. Metal screamed. The Lithari were cutting through the hull. Fine, I said. Her plan? Her grin was dangerous. You're going to distract them. Me? Yes. While I make sure they don't leave with the Lunacore fragments. You mean the ones that exploded into space confetti? Those ones, she said, tail flicking. They're still linked to us. Oh, good, I muttered. Shared trauma and shared magical shards. Just what I needed. When the Lithari arrived, the hull ruptured with a flash. 3 Lithari warriors stepped through the smoke, sleek, silver-armored, their feline eyes glowing like molten amber. They looked like Niara, if Nyara had decided to join an evil space cult. The leader hissed, "Nyara of the Lost Moon, you defied the pact. Surrender, and your companion may live." Nyara's ears flattened. Over my dead tail, the Lithari aimed plasma lances. I aimed sarcasm. "Hey!" "Quick question. Do all of you hiss before combat, or is that just a cultural thing?" The leader glared at me. "Human, be silent." "See," I said, "that's why no one invites you guys to poker night." They move fast, inhumanly fast, but Nyara moved faster. She flipped, claws glowing with Lunacore energy, slashing one's weapon in half. Sparks filled the air. "Behind you!" I shouted. She ducked just as I fired my sidearm, plasma bolt grazing the attacker's shoulder. He snarled. Unlinked human interfering with sacred. I hit him with the butt of my gun. Linked, actually, emotionally and magically. Don't ask. The bond overloads we fought side by side, and every movement synced like choreography. When I fired, she dodged. When she struck, I covered her flank. It was like our thoughts anticipated each other's next moves. Then it hit me, literally. A plasma blast slammed into my chest plate. Pain surged through me. "Kai!" she screamed. Suddenly her eyes flared, and I felt her anger explode through the bond. Energy rippled outward, blue arcs of power spiraling from her hands as she tore through the remaining Lithari like they were made of paper. When it was over, she stood trembling in the aftermath, claws glowing faintly. "Nyara," I whispered, trying to catch my breath. "You okay?" She turned, eyes wide. "You felt that?" "All of it." Her voice dropped low. "Then you know what I'm scared of." Emotional and romantic shift. The bond between us hummed with raw emotion, fear, guilt, affection, all tangled like the ship's damaged wiring. "You think you'll lose control?" I said quietly. "That you'll hurt me," she nodded. "The Lithari rage isn't something that can be contained. It consumes, and now that you're linked, it could consume you too." I stepped closer, ignoring the faint hum of static that jumped between us. "Then we face it together." "You don't get it, Kai. You feel what I feel. If I slip, you'll—" "Nyara." I met her gaze. "I'm not running." She stared at me, conflicted. "You're infuriating." "Yeah," I said. "I've been told I have that effect on gorgeous alien women trying to save the galaxy." She groaned, half laughing, half exasperated. "You're impossible." Impossible's my middle name. Dark humor. Amid chaos, we moved through the smoke-filled corridor, checking for more intruders. The AI voice crackled faintly. "Warning. Atmospheric breach on Deck 3. "Perfect," I muttered. "Add suffocation to the list." Nyara glanced at me. "Want me to fix it or keep you alive?" "Both would be great." Typical human, always multitasking at the worst time. We reached an airlock door. She slammed a hand on the panel, sparks flying. "You sure this'll hold?" I asked. "Do you trust me?" Usually, she echoed, smirking. "Careful, Kai, I might take that personally." I smirked back. "You already do." The intimate energy surge. The moment she sealed the hatch, the room's emergency lights dimmed, and the crystal shards embedded in her gloves began to glow again. Nyara? You're doing the shiny thing again." "It's not me," she whispered. "It's us." The Lunacore's rebuilding itself. The air between us shimmered. The shards floated up, forming a sphere of light. It pulsed in sync with our hearts, one beat, two, faster. Then her hand brushed mine. I felt everything. Her warmth, her panic, her relief, and something else deeper. A magnetic pull that wasn't entirely alien. She whispered, "It's feeding on emotion again. Then maybe we should, think of something less emotional." Her smirk was all teeth. "Good luck with that." Comedic romantic chaos, the energy pulse grew brighter. Every thought we had bounced between us like lightning. "Don't look at her lips." "He's totally looking at my lips." "Stop thinking that I'm thinking that you're thinking." "Oh no, he's blushing." "Nyara, shut your brain." I yelled. "You first." "I can't when you keep thinking like that." "Then stop being flustered." We both shouted at once. "You started it." The Lunacore flared, and with a whoosh of light, everything went still. The shard's energy faded, leaving us tangled in a heap on the floor. She blinked up at me. "You okay?" I blinked back. "Define okay." Her tail flicked lazily. "You're lying on me. Technically, you're lying under me." "Semantics." I grinned. "You're purring." She froze. "No, I'm not." "Yeah, you are." Stop listening." "Can't." Psychic bond, remember? She groaned. I hate this. No, you don't. Maybe not. The calm. Before the next storm, we sat in the half-lit corridor, surrounded by the faint hum of the ship. For a rare moment, everything was quiet, peaceful. Nyara leaned her head on my shoulder. They'll be back, stronger. I know. You shouldn't stay. I know that too. Then why aren't you leaving? Because, I said, I've already seen what you become under the moon, and I'm not afraid of it. She looked up, her expression softening. You're either the bravest human I've met, or the dumbest, little of both. Her smile was small but real. Then let's hope it's enough. Cliffhanger. Ending suddenly, the ship's systems flickered again. The AI's voice whispered faintly. Alert. Internal energy spike detected. Secondary Lunacore reconstructing. Nyara's head shot up. No, that's impossible. What's happening? Her eyes widened in fear and wonder. The Lunacore's evolving. It's merging us. Wait, merging? As in, her pupils glowed white. A surge of light enveloped us both. The night arrived without warning. The city's twin moons rose higher than they should have. Unnatural, glowing red and violet, as if they'd been painted by a drunk god with a death wish. The air crackled with static. Every hollow screen flickered, and Lyra wasn't home. Reed stormed through the metallic corridors of Sector 9, his boots striking the alloy floor like thunderclaps. Civilians ducked out of the way, eyes wide as he passed. He wasn't wearing armor, just a torn undershirt and a plasma pistol holstered sideways, as if he'd left a dinner fight half-finished. She's out there, he muttered, eyes narrowing at the glowing skyline. Of course she is. Behind him, an old vendor called out, Hey, human! You're chasing that girl again, the one with the tail that glows. Reed didn't even break stride. Yeah, and if you see her before I do, tell her to stop trying to save the damn world on an empty stomach. The vendor chuckled. That's your stepsister, right? Reed gave a dry laugh. That's what she keeps telling people. Meanwhile, high above the city, Lyra stood on the edge of a grav tower, her hair glowing in twin streaks of blue fire. The transformation had already begun. Her breathing came in short bursts. Her veins shimmered with lunar light that pulsed with the rhythm of her heartbeat. She clutched the small pendant at her neck, a crystal shaped like a teardrop humming faintly. Her voice trembled. Don't make me do this again, Mother. Please. A soft, mocking laugh answered her. From behind her, a dark shape formed out of the air, a feminine silhouette made of shadow and smoke, eyes burning red like molten circuits. My dear daughter, the voice purred, wrapping around Lyra like silk. You were born for this. The blood of our kind doesn't run from the moon. It rises with it. Lyra's claws extended, her pupils shrinking to slits. She grit her teeth, trying to resist. I'm not your kind anymore, she hissed. I made a promise. The shadow circled her, sneering. To a human? How pathetic. They burn bright, die fast, and leave you with nothing but regret. Lyra closed her eyes and saw Reed's face. The way he looked at her, the way his stupid grin somehow always calmed her pulse. No, she whispered. He's different, oh child. The shadow chuckled, her form shifting into a mirror of Lyra's own, only older, darker, regal. You have no idea what he really is. Down below, Reed reached the tower. He stared up at the structure's dizzying height, muttering, You really couldn't pick a cafe for your transformations, huh? He hit the emergency lift. The entire thing groaned as it ascended. The higher he went, the louder the city became, a chorus of alarms, wind, and distant thunder. Halfway up, his comm crackled. Reed, came the voice of his commander. You're heading straight into a restricted zone. We have reports of lunar-class energy signatures, classified alien-class threat. What the hell are you doing? Saving family, Reed replied. And maybe the city. Depends on her mood. Reed, damn it, listen, if she turns, you terminate. That's an order. Reed looked at the gun on his hip, then shut the comm off. Yeah, he said quietly. Not happening. The lift doors opened with a hiss, and there she was. Lyra stood on the edge of the platform, her aura glowing brighter than ever. The wind whipped around her, lifting sparks and bits of metal into the air. Her silhouette was both ethereal and terrifying, like a goddess caught mid-change. Lyra, Reed shouted, stepping forward. She turned, slowly. Her eyes, half hers, half something else, locked on his. Reed, you shouldn't be here, she whispered. Her voice sounded layered. two tones overlapping, hers and something ancient. Yeah, well, he said, pulling a smirk. You said that last time you hijacked a power core. How'd that turn out? Her lips twitched in a small, painful smile. You still don't get it. I'm losing control. I can't stop what's coming. Then I'll stop it with you, he said, walking closer. She backed away, shaking her head violently. No, you don't understand. When the moon completes its rise, I'll become her. Reed's expression darkened. Her, as in the thing that's been draining power from the entire sector? Lyra nodded weakly, tears forming despite the light burning under her skin. My mother bound her consciousness inside me when I was born. Every full moon she tries to take me back. If she wins this time, the city dies. Reed finished quietly. Lyra looked at him. So go, please, while you still can. Reed took another step forward. You really think I'm the type to walk away? Her claws flashed. I'll hurt you. Wouldn't be the first time, he grinned. That earned him a shaky laugh, and that was all he needed. In one motion, Reed lunged forward, wrapping his arms around her as the transformation reached its peak. Her body convulsed, glowing like a small star, the tower trembling beneath them. Reed, she screamed. You idiot, you'll burn! Then I'll burn with you, he growled, holding her tighter. Her power surged through him like liquid fire. His skin seared, his veins lighting up as if trying to match hers. The shadow of her mother shrieked, recoiling from the connection. You can't save her, the spectral figure roared. She's mine. Reed looked up at the apparition, eyes blazing. Yeah? Then sue me. With that, he pulled the pendant from Lyra's neck and crushed it in his hand. The crystal exploded in a burst of light so bright it turned the entire skyline white. The shockwave rippled outward, windows shattered. Drones fell from the sky, clouds parted like torn fabric, and when the light faded, Lyra collapsed in his arms. Unconscious but breathing, the shadow was gone. For the first time in years, the city was silent. Later, as dawn painted the horizon in gold and silver, Reed sat with her on the rooftop, watching the sun rise over the chaos they'd survived. Her head rested on his shoulder, her breathing soft and human again. Did I? She mumbled, eyes half open. Do anything embarrassing? He smiled. You tried to eat a satellite. Oh, she paused. Was it at least a good one? Top of the line, he said. 5 billion credits worth, she groaned. Guess that's coming out of my allowance, he chuckled. If I had to pick between losing a city or losing you, Lyra's eyes fluttered open fully, the faintest smile playing on her lips. You'd lose the city? He looked at her with mock seriousness. I'd lose 2 cities. Her laugh echoed through the early light, a sound that felt like victory and home at once. But as the wind quieted and the warmth returned to the skyline, a faint whisper danced through the static of the ruined comms tower. It was the same voice as before, soft, female, amused. You can't destroy what's written in the blood, my daughter. The next moon will rise soon. The screen flickered once, twice, and went black. The sun had never looked so smug. It sat high above the wrecked city towers, golden light gleaming across half-melted antennas and shattered glass, like it was proud of itself for simply showing up. Reed squinted against it, sitting cross-legged on the edge of the tower where he and Lyra had fallen asleep. His shirt was gone, burned to ash during last night's fireworks, and his hair stuck up in ways gravity would never approve of. Lyra lay next to him, wrapped in his jacket, tail twitching lazily in her sleep. Her face looked soft again, almost innocent, like she hadn't just tried to eat the moon. Reed rubbed his temples. Yep, he muttered. Still the weirdest date I've ever been on. From below, the hum of rescue drones began echoing through the city. Loudspeakers blared emergency notices, demanding civilians report any abnormal biological events. Too late for that, Reed said, glancing at Lyra's glowing fingertips. She stirred slightly and murmured, 5 more minutes. Of course, he said dryly. Because interstellar chaos can wait until after your nap. A soft ding interrupted him. His wrist comm flickered to life, projecting a furious face into the air. Commander Hale. Reed. Reed flinched. Morning, sir. Don't you sir me, you suicidal maniac? Hale's voice nearly shattered the comm speaker. Do you have any idea what kind of paperwork you've created? The entire orbital division's comms grid went offline for 2 hours. Technically, Reed said. That wasn't me. Hale's nostrils flared. Was it the glowing alien girl who lives in your apartment again? Reed coughed. Define lives. Hale slammed a holographic fist onto his desk somewhere far away. I don't care what definition you're using. Get her contained before the council sends a retrieval unit. They want her alive, and you preferably in one piece. Reed sighed. Got it. Contain the alien girlfriend. Check. She's not the comm cutout. Reed smirked. Always nice catching up. By the time Lyra woke, the city below was already crawling with military drones. She stretched, yawning like a cat, the jacket slipping off her shoulders. Her golden eyes blinked at the skyline. Wow, we didn't die. Barely, Reed replied. 10 out of 10. Would almost explode again. She turned to look at him. You stayed with me all night? Someone had to make sure you didn't accidentally vaporize a hospital in your sleep. Her cheeks flushed blue, her species equivalent of blushing. That's kind of sweet, Reed grinned. Sweet? Lyra, I'm covered in moonburns. She giggled and poked his arm. Then I'll heal you. Wait, Lyra, don't. Too late. She placed her glowing hand on his shoulder. Instantly, his skin tingled, and not in the good way. It was like being tickled by electricity and kissed by lightning at the same time. He jerked backward, face twisted. Ah, it's like 1,000 bees trying to flirt with me. Lyra tilted her head innocently. That means it's working. Next time, he said through clenched teeth. Just give me a bandage. Once the healing stopped, they began climbing down the tower. Or rather, Reed climbed. Lyra floated down gracefully, smirking the whole time. Show off, he muttered. Gravity likes me more, she replied. It's mutual. When they finally reached the street, chaos awaited them. Soldiers setting up barricades, civilians recording on hollow devices, reporters hovering in drones above like mechanical vultures. Don't draw attention, Reed whispered. Sure, Lyra said, adjusting her hood. Because blending in as a glowing alien woman with a tail is super easy. Just don't glow. I can't help it when I'm nervous. Well, stop being nervous. Well, stop being you. Reed opened his mouth, paused, then sighed. Fair point. They ducked into an alleyway. The scent of ozone and fried circuits filled the air. Lyra peered around a corner. They're scanning for biosignatures. The council must have sent a team. Great, Reed said. Because nothing says romantic morning walk like getting hunted by interplanetary intelligence. He tapped his comm again. Hale, we need extraction now, static. No answer. Lyra's ears twitched. Jamming field. They're isolating this district. Guess we're on our own, she grinned mischievously. So, like a date, but with more explosions? Exactly, he said. Except at the end of this one, we either kiss or get dissected. 50-50 odds. Story of my life. The soldiers found them 20 minutes later, armored, silent, faceless. Energy rifles humming. Reed and Lyra stood back to back in the center of an abandoned plaza. The morning light cut through the dust like stage spotlights. Reed cracked his knuckles. You take left. I'll take right. Lyra's grin widened. You always get the boring side. The first shots rang out, plasma bolts cutting through the air. Reed dodged behind a column, returning fire in short, precise bursts. Lyra moved like lightning, flipping off debris, kicking rifles out of hands, her laughter echoing through the chaos. Stop enjoying this, Reed shouted. I can't help it. You look heroic when you're panicking. Reed dove as a plasma bolt tore past his face. I'm not panicking, I'm strategically relocating. Sure, human. Then one of the soldiers fired a stun net. It flew straight toward Lyra. Reed dove in front of her without thinking, catching the full blast. The net sparked, wrapping him in crackling light. Reed! She cried, rushing over. He gritted his teeth. Don't move. It's tuned for your energy signature. If you touch it... She ignored him completely and tore it off with her claws, the energy discharging in a blinding flash. When the light cleared, Reed was smoking slightly. See? She said proudly. Easy, Reed blinked. I think I can smell colors now. Lyra giggled, grabbing his arm. Come on, hero. Time to run. They dashed through the burning alleys. Side by side, laughter mixing with the chaos around them. Finally, they found a quiet underground passage, one of the old transit tunnels from before the war. The moment they stopped, Reed leaned against the wall, panting. You still think that was a date? Lyra smiled softly, walking closer. You jumped in front of a plasma net for me. He shrugged. Instinct, she tilted her head. Instinct? Or something else? Their eyes met. For once there was no teasing, no chaos, no fire. Just the quiet hum of the city far above and the faint glow from her aura reflecting in his eyes. Reed swallowed. You know they'll never let us go. The council wants to study you and command probably wants to court-martial me. Lyra stepped closer, her voice barely a whisper. Then we disappear, he blinked. Disappear? You mean find another colony? A small one. Somewhere with trees. No moons, she smiled faintly. You like cooking, right? You could open one of those little human food stalls. He laughed. And you'd... What, run the cash register? I'd taste test everything, she said, eyes gleaming. Quality control, he chuckled, shaking his head. You'd eat all the profits. Then we'll just make more. Silence stretched between them for a long moment. Soft and dangerous. Then, without warning, Lyra leaned in, close enough that he could feel her breath against his lips. Thank you, she whispered. For what? He asked, heartbeat loud in his chest. For staying. And before he could reply, she kissed him. It wasn't gentle. It was fierce, desperate, alive. The kind of kiss that said we might not have tomorrow, so we'll take all of today. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. Reed smirked. You know, he said softly, if this is how your people say thank you, I could get used to it. Lyra laughed. Careful, human. You might. Above them, the city continued to search. Drones swept the skies. Commanders yelled through comms. But down in the forgotten tunnels, beneath the chaos and lights, two fugitives sat close together, one human, one alien, sharing warmth, laughter, and a stolen sunrise. For the first time since the invasion began, Reed didn't feel like a soldier. He felt free. Lyra leaned against him, eyes half closed. Next time, she murmured sleepily, we pick a planet without full moons. He smiled. Deal. They said love between a human and a Lithari hybrid could never survive the galaxy. They were half right because technically we didn't survive. We escaped. The new planet, 3 months later, the air on Solara 5 still tasted like copper and honey. Reed leaned against the wooden frame of his tiny food stall, flipping a pan of sizzling synth eggs while Lyra wiped down the counter. Above them, 2 suns burned lazily through the orange haze, and a single pale moon hovered on the horizon, small, harmless-looking. Remind me again, Reed said. Why we picked the one planet that still has a moon? Lyra grinned, tail flicking. Because it has good weather and terrible Wi-Fi. The council won't find us. Until they realize you can't resist posting pictures of breakfast online. She rolled her eyes. You humans take photos of everything. I take one picture of you cooking shirtless, and suddenly the whole colony subscribes to my feed. Reed nearly dropped the pan. Wait, what? Lyra looked innocent. It's called interspecies appreciation, he sighed. I swear you're going to get us caught because of thirst comments. Correction, she said, tapping his nose. You're going to get us sponsored. Ties. Small life. Big feelings. The stall wasn't much. A recycled cargo container turned cafe, but it had character. A flickering neon sign read, Kai's Cosmic Grill. Locals loved it. Lithari merchants, android laborers, even a few ex-council agents who pretended not to recognize him. And through it all, Lyra stayed by his side, pretending she was just his assistant. But everyone could see the way they looked at each other. One old mechanic once muttered, You can tell they're in love. The air hums around them. He wasn't wrong. Every time they brushed hands, the Lunacore mark, that faint silver pattern from the crystal, glowed softly on both their wrists. A reminder of their shared heartbeat. The secret transmission. It was late one night. The sun's long set when it happened. Reed was cleaning the stove, humming while Lyra sat on the roof, watching the moon rise. Suddenly her eyes flared gold. The air around her shimmered like static before a storm. He looked up. Lyra, you okay? She didn't answer. The Lunacore, which they'd buried months ago, was glowing again beneath the floorboards. Reed ran up the ladder, heart pounding. Talk to me. Lyra blinked, breath sharp. It's her. Who? My mother, she whispered. The matriarch of Lithar. She found me. Reed froze. What does she want? Lyra stared at the horizon. To finish what she started. The moonlight hit her face, and her markings flared silver blue again. Reed groaned. Not again. Full moon, 2 point. The transformation was faster this time, like her body remembered. Her hair floated around her like liquid light. Her eyes glowed brighter than before, and her voice came out layered, hers and another's deeper. Older, daughter, the other voice said through her lips. You defied the bloodline. You let a human bind to the Lunacore. Reed stepped forward. Hey, she didn't. Silence, mortal, the voice thundered. You are a parasite in our line. Lyra clutched her head. Stop, don't talk to him like that. Reed moved closer, grabbing her shoulders. Lyra, listen to me. You beat this once, you can do it again. You're not her puppet. Her claws trembled, glowing. I can't. She's stronger this time. Then I'll fight her too, he said. She's in you, right? Then she'll hear me. He pressed his forehead to hers. For a second the world fell silent. Then, through the shimmering light, he whispered, You don't get to decide who she loves. Not even if you made her. Love against the code. The Lunacore's light exploded outward. The whole valley lit up like dawn had come early. Lyra screamed, but this time it wasn't fear. It was freedom. The air split with a crack like thunder, and when it cleared, she was kneeling in the dirt, her body glowing. Trembling, but the voice was gone. She looked up at him, tears streaking her face. She's gone. I did it, Reed smiled, heart pounding. You did it. And then he did something stupid. Again, he kissed her right there under the double suns, with the moon still hanging like a witness above them, her hands tangled in his hair, pulling him close. The world spun, warm and wild and bright. For once, they didn't care who saw. Morning after, again, when morning came, they were still tangled together on the sand behind the food stall. Lyra stirred first, groaning. My head feels like a black hole, Reed smirked. At least you didn't try to eat the moon this time. She elbowed him gently. You're lucky I like you. Yeah, I'm starting to suspect that's the only reason I'm still alive. She smiled, tracing the faint mark on his wrist. You know, our bond's permanent now. The Lunacore's gone, but the link remains. He raised an eyebrow. Permanent how? She leaned closer, whispering, You'll always feel me, even when you don't see me. Romantic or terrifying. Depends on what I'm thinking. Oh, great. Telepathic commentary during breakfast rush. She grinned wickedly. Especially during breakfast rush. The future, they rebuilt the stall. Renamed it Luna and Kai's Grill. Open when we feel like it. Business boomed. Mostly because Lyra kept using alien pheromones in the kitchen, for seasoning. He caught her once sprinkling powder into a dish. Lyra, what's that? Just spice. Define spice, she winked. You'll find out later, and he did. Final scene. That evening, as they closed up shop, Lyra leaned against the counter, tail wrapping around his arm. You ever think, she said softly, we weren't supposed to meet? Reed smiled. All the time. And yet here we are, he shrugged. Maybe the universe messed up. Maybe it knew I'd need you. She tilted her head. To save me? To make me laugh, he said. To drive me insane. To remind me that love isn't safe, but it's worth it, she laughed, pressing her forehead to his. You're such a human. And you, he said, are my favorite mistake. The moon rose again, silver and quiet. Neither of them looked away this time. Epilogue. The broadcast weeks later, a message appeared in the galactic network sent from an untraceable source. To the Council of Worlds. Stop chasing love you don't understand. The Lunacore is gone. The Lithari girl is free. The human is happy. Consider it a success story. Signed only, the girl who glowed and the idiot who stayed. CTA. Would you risk your life for someone who could destroy worlds if they made you laugh along the way? If you felt their story, share it. Somewhere out there, another human and another alien might need a reminder that love, like moonlight,